On Friday, we talked about distributive property. So today we're going to be multiplying polynomials, which is very similar. The only difference is instead of one term being out here that we're going to distribute, we have to distribute both of them. So exact same concept, just a little bit more work. So we're going to distribute the 2y first. So 2y times y is 2y squared. Remember, we're adding the exponents. And then 2y times 2 is 4y. So that's the first term distributed, and then we're going to do the same thing with this 3. So 3 times y is 3y, and then 3 times 2 is 6. So then you need to check for like terms. So that's something we talked about a few lessons ago. In the middle, the 4y and the 3y are like terms. They both have a y and the same exponent of 1. So we need to combine those together. So the 2y squared stays the same, doesn't match anything. And then the 4y plus 3y, that's 7y. And the 6 stays the same because it doesn't match anything. So that's the final answer. Number 2, same thing. So distribute the 3z. So that's 6z squared. 3z times negative 5, make sure you get that sign. So that's negative 15z. Then distribute the negative 7. So negative 14z. And then negative 7 times negative 5 is positive 35. So again, make sure you're careful on your signs when you've got negatives. So then the like terms, there's 2 in the middle again. It's very common that they're in the middle. So 6z squared stays the same. Negative 15 minus 14 is negative 29z plus 35. Final answer. So again, always make sure your final answer, all of the like terms have been combined. Number 3, distribute the 2x. So 2x times 8x is 16x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. Then do the negative 9. So again, watch that negative. Negative 9 times 8x is negative 72x. And then negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. So again, like terms are in the middle. So the 16x squared stays the same. 6 minus 72, negative 66x minus 27. Final answer. So these on your own problems will be after the video for a grade, to make sure that made sense before you continue moving on. Example 2, same exact thing, only now we've got a binomial, so 2 terms, times a trinomial, which is 3 terms. Same process, it's just going to take a little bit longer. So we're going to distribute the 8x first. So 8x times 3x squared. So 8 times 3 is 24. And then x to the first times x squared. Remember, you add these exponents when you're multiplying. Then 8x times x is 8x squared. And then 8x times negative 7 is negative 56x. So we do the same thing with the negative 2. So negative 2 times 3x squared is negative 6x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14. So here's probably the biggest difference in what we did on example 1 and what we're doing here. We've got a lot more terms. So you've got to check for any like terms and then combine those. So always start with the biggest exponent. We did this last week. Start with the biggest exponent and combine on your way down. That way they're in order. So the 24x cubed doesn't match anything. I would cross them out as you go so you don't lose track. The x squareds, we got an 8x squared and a negative 6x squared. So 8 minus 6 is positive 2, so positive 2x squared. Then go down to the x's, so negative 56 minus 2. So that'd be negative 58x. And then the 14 doesn't match anything, so it stays the same. Final answer. Let's do one more. So this is backwards from what it looked like on number 1. You can go from right to left if you want to. I always just go left to right, but either way is fine. So 6y times 8y. 6 times 8 is 48. And then the y's, we've got 2 plus 1, so that'd be to the third power. 6y squared times 1 is just 6y squared. So then we're going to move to the negative 2y. So negative 2y times 8y is negative 16y squared. Negative 2y times 1 is negative 2y. And then the last term, we need to multiply the 5. So 5 times 8y is 40y. And then 5 times 1 is 5. So again, we've got to combine all the like terms, starting with the highest exponent. So biggest one is the 3, so 48y cubed does not change, doesn't match anything. Squareds, we've got a positive 6 and a negative 16. So 6 minus 16 is negative 10y squared. Exponent isn't changing anymore. So up here, when we multiplied, we were adding the exponents. Down here, we're just combining the like terms, so the exponents are not changing. Go down to the y's. Negative 2 plus 40 is positive 38y. And then the 5 doesn't match anything, so it stays the same. And then these on your own problems you'll have after the video. Next example, we've got a formula you'll need to write down. So I'm going to go over it. If you need to pause the video really quick to write this, go ahead and do that. So the first formula, if it looks like this, so if we've got two terms added together and then squared, we're going to use the shortcut to get the answer. So we're going to square the first term. The middle term, we're going to double, so twice the product of the terms. So 2 times the product of the terms. And then we're going to square the last term. If it's minus, you do the same exact thing. The only difference in these two is if it's a minus, we're going to put a minus there. If it's a plus, we're going to put a plus there. So again, if you need to pause that really quick to write all this down, make sure you do that. So number 1, it's got a plus in the middle, so we're following the formula from the first one. So it says to square the first term. So the first term is the y. So we're going to do y squared. And then it says do the product of the terms, 2 times the product. So y times 11 is 11y. And then it says do twice the product. So times 2 would be 22. So 22y. And then the last term says square that. So 11 squared is 121. So that's the final answer. Typically, I see a lot of mistakes here. So that's the only one I'm actually going to do the shortcut on, because I think it might be easier just to do it the longer way. I see a lot fewer mistakes. So I'm going to show you another way to do it on number 2 without using the formula. So number 2, the squared here means, squared always means take something times itself. So this says 3y minus 6 times itself. So I'm going to rewrite it, 3w minus 6 times itself. So I'm just going to write it again. So if you want to do it like you did on number 1, you can. But like I said, I typically see mistakes and a lot of confusion. So I would suggest doing it like I'm doing here on number 2. So now I just am going to distribute like we did on the first couple examples. So 3w times 3w is 9w squared. 3w times negative 6 is negative 18w. And then distribute this negative 6. So negative 6 times 3, negative 18w. And negative 6 times negative 6, so they're both negative, which makes it positive, 36. And there are like terms in the middle again. So this stays the same. Combine like terms, negative 18 minus 18 is negative 36. Don't cancel those out. They don't cross out. They'd have to be opposite signs to cancel. And then plus 36 stays the same. So either way is fine. How I did it on number 1 was the shortcut. Number 2, I just wrote it out and distributed. Again, I would do number